Hi there guys, it's Martyn here, and welcome back to another instalment of the Sunday Catch-Up, episode 38, I think we are on now. I always have trouble remembering where we get these days. And of course, before we get to the Q&A first, we will have the video recap. So on Tuesday, we had the latest instalment of the Now Review, which looked at Now Love songs, all that sort of stuff, to try and tie in for Valentine's Day, 2 days prior, I know, but I hope you enjoyed watching that episode. Check it out if you haven't. On Wednesday, we had the latest installment of After These Messages, and we took a look at a series of Atari commercials. A lot more US-based commercials. After These Messages was never intended to be UK exclusive, so I know some people were a bit surprised, but please, if you haven't seen it, check out that Atari video. And on Friday, we had the latest installment of the IDENT review, and we took a look at the ITV3 IDENTs from 2013. It was quite nice to explore another ITV offshoot, and I hope you enjoyed it. And ITV4, well, we'll see if that comes in the future. And just before we get into your questions, I'm just going to make a note. I've had a look at a bunch of the comments from the past few weeks. Going forward, I've decided any questions you have regarding requests about various shows, so if you've got any questions about the IDENT review, about Video Scaries, After These Messages, the Now Review, etc., any show questions, I'm not going to answer on the Sunday Catch-Up. Please don't, they are not being ignored. I'm reading them, I'm acknowledging them. It's just a lot of them tend to be requests. There's nothing wrong with requests, I welcome them, but I want to spend more time on the Sunday Catch-Up addressing like different sorts of questions, not necessarily my show-based questions. So please, if you still, if you've got questions, please leave them still like requests and I'll acknowledge them, but I just won't be addressing them in this format of the Sunday Catch-Up. But with that said, now let's get into your questions. So LJA says, have you ever watched 8 out of 10 Cats? No, I haven't really. I mean, I never watched a great deal of Channel 4 as a kid. I think that's where it was on. And no, I've never really gotten into it, so sadly not. I Am Robtastic says, have you ever been to East Anglia? Nope, never. 2, do you have Netflix? If so, what shows have you watched? I do have Netflix. I've watched a few things. Orange is the New Black, great series. Me and Lauren watched the Fire Festival documentary on Netflix. That was very interesting. There's just a lot of good Netflix original stuff at the minute. I do think there's far too much. They're sort of cramming it down all our throats. They need to slow down, but they make a lot of good content. And 3, what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? A number of things, really. I started in September 2012. I was 16 at the time. I liked a lot of collection videos. That's how I started, with Doctor Who collection videos, and yeah, just a bunch of YouTubers at the time I watched, British YouTubers, KSI was one, of course. Yeah, I just wanted to try myself, but I'd say I really got started doing it properly summer 2016 with the introduction of the brief history videos. That I sort of see as like the second birth of my channel. I'm happy with the videos before then, but that was really when things started taking off. Atomic TV says, PewDiePie or T-Series? PewDiePie, man, always. Stuart Valentine says, worst IDENT? Ooh, that's a very good question. Any that springs to my head, it's like the BBC Two 1986 variant, where it's just the word two. That's a bit lackluster, isn't it? Worst IDENT? Just any I've sort of covered, I guess, that are just boring. Like, they don't advertise anything. Like some of the horror IDENTs even, the later ones that, are so short, but they don't say anything. So anything that's just bland. Ninky 500 says, now that your old biggest fan is gone, who is your biggest fan now? That's a very good question. I remember in the past some of you commented yourselves saying, can I be your biggest fan? So all I'll say is, if you want to be my biggest fan, let me know in the comments below and we'll see who gets there first. Nathan Simpson says, did you know that Cracker Jack is getting rebooted? No, I didn't. I find that quite interesting because Cracker Jack, by all accounts, is a very old show. It was big in the 60s. I can't remember if it went to the 70s, but it's interesting to see how they'll reformat that, whether that'll be a success or not, but we'll see. Anglophile HQ4 has a question being, out of all the CBBC idents in the IDENT review episode, which one besides the one you grew up with is your favourite? So, I do quite like the children's BBC, the sort of the first one they used in 1983 or 5, I can't even remember myself, or actually the one in the early 90s, that's a very popular one with me. He also says, have you thought about doing a series of scary idents to separate it from the IDENT review? Not really. I mean, there's not that many idents that I deem scary. I know a lot of people would have found idents scary from childhood, but I kind of like having video scaries being about sort of all sorts of scary things and the IDENT review being about idents, so that'll be that. What CBBC show is your favourite? That is a brilliant question. Probably something like Raven or 50/50. A lot of those like live action game shows I really enjoyed. Some of the dramas were good, obviously like Sarah Jane Adventures, but I was mainly into the CBBC game shows. And 3, which is better, Ant and Dec as kids or Ant and Dec as adults? Adults, definitely. Much more, just more entertaining. Artem Gubert says, hello, you want to be the British artist for week 9 of ITV Creates? If only. I don't know how I get involved with ITV Creates, and I'm not necessarily an artist or a designer at heart. I could probably come up with something, I'm sure, but I'd have to have a think about that. Dragonman2455 says, moving on to video games, what do you think is the worst, if not the worst game ever created? I know a lot of people jump to E.T. on the Atari 2600. There's probably worse games out there. I like to base games on stuff I've played. So the worst game I've ever played, let me think. Do you know what? The first Transformers movie-based game on the PSP, that thing was garbage. I remember my friend had the PS2 version. That played pretty competently, pretty well. It was an enjoyable game. And for Christmas, I think my brother got the PS2 version because he was a bigger Transformers fan, and I got the PSP version, granted, because I had a PSP. And it wasn't, you know, Mum, Dad, don't worry, it's not your fault. It's just the PSP port of Transformers was terrible. Benny's Random says, will you do another Q&A with your girlfriend? She sold the show last time. Funny you mentioned that, Mr. Random. I might have a little announcement about that at the end of this video, so you better stay tuned. Scramble59 says, what amiibos do you have? I don't have any, it's not really my thing. And 2, will you make the IDENT review for the ITV Creates a monthly thing? Yeah, I know I said I wouldn't talk about requests, but this isn't really a request. Yeah, so as you've probably gathered, every month towards the end I'll do a ITV Creates IDENT review. SKS2002 says, Adult Swim recently came to E4. Can you remember when Adult Swim used to be on Bravo? I actually can't, I never had Bravo as a younger child. And have you ever watched a TV show about Butlins Redcoats called Redcoats? I've heard about Redcoats. I remember it, the name being tossed around, but no, I haven't actually watched it. Is it any good? Let me know in the comments. Dr. Floyd03 says, favourite track from Now 2? Now 2. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper. 2, do you like Assassin's Creed? Not really, not my kind of game. And 3, have you seen Four Lions? Yes, one of my favourite comedy films and one of my favourite films of all time overall. The Original Being says, what artists or bands did you listen to that were part of your parents' music collection? What a brilliant question, I love stuff like this. So my parents had a very wide taste in music. Annie Lennox, that was a big one. We had that in the car all the time. Stuff like Enya, I really liked Enya as well. They're the 2 that stick out most prominently, but my parents have a wide taste in music, so I'm happy that they did, because then I could learn that off them. And 2, you mentioned in previous Sunday catch-ups you were planning a video series focusing on children's TV shows. What inspired you? It was you guys, honestly, because a lot of you asked me to do brief histories on kids' TV shows, and I just thought, well, if there's a demand to talk about kids' TV shows, why not do a series on it? And don't worry, I'm still working on maybe making something like that, but we're going to have to see where that ends up. Life just is getting very hectic at the minute. I'm even surprised. I'm filming this on a Sunday. This will hopefully reach you this evening, if we're lucky. Comedy Dude 54 Close says, my question is, what's your opinion on CBeebies Go Explore? I've never really watched it, mate, so I feel I can't comment. Steve Knowles says, have you ever heard of James A. Williams? No. 2, do you like Thomas and Friends? Yeah, man, that's what I grew up with. I prefer, obviously, like, you know, the stop motion stuff, the original style, not really into the whole CGI part of it. And 3, what's your opinion on DVD and VHS releases, such as VCI, Hit Entertainment, or To Entertain? Well, yeah, I mean, especially with VCI and Hit Entertainment, they made a lot of videos that were part of my childhood, and To Entertain more so, with BBC shows like Doctor Who and stuff like that. I think they do good work, and I hope that they all continue. Kevin's Own TV says, what year is your channel birth? So if you mean what year, 2012. Paul Kelly says, what is your favourite Sunday roast? Brilliant question. I think I like a lamb roast. That's probably my favourite kind of Sunday roast. You know, so you got your lamb, you got your peas, your carrots, your broccoli, some Yorkshire puddings, of course, just all that sort of stuff. Nintendo, Sega, CBBC, ITV, Disney, Nixie, and Brony 1998 says, are or were you excited that Adult Swim is coming or came to E4 on the 15th of February? Not really, I never really grew up with Adult Swim, so it's not that big of a deal for me. Hasanain Junaid says, have you watched Watch My Chops on CBBC? Yes, I'm surprised that people remember that show. It was around 2003, I think, that came out, just a show about a dog and his owner and all the wacky shenanigans they get up to. And 2, have you played Bully, aka Canis Canem Edit? I saw my friend play it on PS2, but I never played it myself. Looks fun though, good Rockstar game. Chestnut Bloke asks that the birthday Q&A last year was posted on the 24th of Feb. If my birthday is on that day, will it be on the same day as the launch of BBC Scotland? And will I do anything to tie in with the event? My birthday will fall on the Sunday catch-up. I'm not going to do anything to tie in with BBC Scotland, unfortunately. I'm going to keep it like a birthday Q&A, sort of similar to last year, with a difference, which you'll find out at the end. And Bailey the Hoovian says, what is your favourite and worst game shows? Well, favourite is stuff like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Worst game show, Golden Balls. What the hell was the point of Golden Balls? So those are all the main questions. Now, as I said, please don't be annoyed if your question wasn't included here. If your question was a request about do this on the IDENT review, do a brief history, do this, do that, don't worry, they have been acknowledged. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give a like or a heart to all the comments that were or had requests included in them, just to show that they have been acknowledged, they haven't been ignored. But as I say, in the future, I want the Sunday catch-up to be questions about all sorts of different things, not just stuff relating to my personal shows. If you've got questions about the shows in general, maybe leave them on the comments of those specific shows, if that makes sense. So I hope that's all right with everyone. So, that, as I said, that's all the questions. Thank you very much for watching them. Now, next week, next Sunday, the 24th of February, will be my 23rd birthday. Hooray! I will be doing a Q&A like I did last year, so your questions down below, you bear in mind it's going to be my birthday, so I'm expecting some very interesting stuff. And also, Lauren's going to be doing it with me. That's right, Benise Random, who commented, you're getting your wish. Lauren will return with me. So if you've got any questions for Lauren as well, please ask in the comments. So yeah, ask both of us, and we look very much forward to seeing what you ask. But thank you very much for watching. Please, as I said at the beginning, check out all the videos this week, especially the newer ones like After These Messages. It's great to have the support on it. Have a fantastic week going forward. We're nearly at 3.4k subscribers. Let's get there as soon as we can. So please like this video, leave your questions, share it around, subscribe to the channel with notifications on. You're welcome to donate to my Patreon if you like. And until the next one, I will see you guys next time.